So to get the variable by itself, which is what we are doing in the last lesson and in this lesson, to get the variable by itself to where it says x equals or r equals, you do the opposite of whatever operation you see. So when you look at this problem right here, 3x equals 12, remember that this means 3 times whatever number x is. Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. And for algebra, we've been writing our division problems to look like fractions. So the way you do the opposite of multiplication, which is division, in algebra is you write a fraction bar like that, and that says divide by, which we knew that already. We're going to divide by 3. And what you do to one side, the equal sign, you do to the other side. So we're going to divide 12 by 3. And you should have learned in the lessons where we were multiplying and dividing fractions, we taught you how to cross simplify. This is kind of the same thing. You're going to simplify. Just the 3's cancel each other out. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And you don't really have to write the 1. Okay, it's understood. 1x is the same thing as just an x. Okay, so we don't really put the 1. But we canceled out the 3, so that all we have left is x. And x equals, now let's divide this right here. 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. So let's look at the math problem over here that, let me move all this over. I have to move it over in pieces, I guess. This says, Deanna has a cookie recipe that requires 12 eggs to make 3 batches of cookies. How many eggs are needed per batch of cookies? So we're talking about having 3 batches of cookies. We don't know how many are needed in each batch, but we know that there are 12 eggs that are needed altogether. Okay, so to model this, remember your X tiles are the big ones that, I don't know how big they are, we don't know that, but there's 3 of them, so 3 X's, just like this, 3 times X, and then over here you have 12, okay, and then they're showing you that when you put them together, 1x equals 4 parts. Okay, that's how that looks. Let's practice these. Remember, these are division equations. That means we're going to use division to solve them. Why are we using division? Because originally it's multiplication, and you do the opposite to simplify it. Okay, to undo multiplication, you got to divide to do that. So I'm going to divide. How do I get a by itself? I'm going to divide by 9. And I want to keep both sides balanced, so I'll divide this side by 9. Okay, the 9's cancel each other out, so then I'm left with a, which a equals, and then you do the math. 54 divided by 9, 6. 18 equals negative 3d. Okay, now my d, my variable, is on this side. But what do we need to get rid of so that the d is by itself? We need to get rid of negative 3. How? Do the opposite of what operation it is you see. This is negative 3 times d, so I'm going to divide by negative 3 because dividing is the opposite of multiplication. Okay, to keep it balanced, I'm going to divide the other side by negative 3. Okay, now the negative 3's cancel each other out, and 18 divided by negative 3, on multiplication and division, you use the Dorito. Okay, 18, that's positive 18, divided by negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 equals d. And then for number 2, okay, this is 3 times x equals negative 21. What do? You cancel out, or you divide by 3, and then they cancel out. Okay, x equals, and then negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. If you want to go back and check these, you can. I'm going to do my checking in blue. Okay, so here I said A equals 6. So 9, not 9 times A anymore. We're going to try 9 times 6. That is equal to 54. So that is true. 6 is my solution. Here we're saying negative 6 is equal to D. So if I take negative 3 times negative 6, that equals 18. And when you look at your Dorito over here, you already have that set up. Negative 3, negative 6, 18. Okay, over here we're saying x equals negative 7. So 3 times negative 7 equals, all right, I'm going to use a little Dorito here too. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. So that solution is true. Okay, this time they give us division problems. So what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. Multiplying is how we're going to do this, okay? So the way you show that is this is x divided by 5, so we're going to take x times 5, which would be 5 over 1, okay? But I'm not going to write 5 over 1 because that's just an extra step. We don't really have to have the 1 there. Okay, it's just going to be times 5. Remember what you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other to keep it balanced. Okay, here we go. Let's cancel out. That cancels out so that we're left with x. X equals, and then 10 times 5 is 50. Now let's look at the original problem. It said x divided by 5 equals 10. If you take out the x and put our solution of 50 there, 50 divided by 5, is that 10? You bet. Let's look at B. B says some number divided by 2 equals 15. Let's figure it out. This is divide, do the opposite. Times 2 over here. Okay, they cancel each other out, the 2's do, so that I'm left with r all by itself. And then on the other side, 2 times 15 is 30. 30 equals r. Okay, if I want to try that, we had r divided by 2, and we're saying that r equals 30. So if I take out the r and put a 30, 30 divided by 2, half of 30 is 15. Okay, last one. People are going to try to figure these out without doing the math, and you're gonna just get them wrong because you think you know. You don't. Times 9 times 9. Okay, these two cancel out, and I'm just left with y. Y equals, and then negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. Yes, these are easy. You don't have to do so much work when you can figure them out real easily, but in probably this year, you're going to have to know how to solve the really complicated when it's easy. Okay, this page right here, I'm going to make you read it. I want you to spend some time reading it. You can open up your textbook and go to, I have no idea what page this is. Here, I tell you what, I'll zoom in and you can read it. And what they're talking about is the UPSI plan that you guys practiced when you were in elementary school. Okay, analyze the information is the same thing as understand the problem. Understand the problem. Okay, formulate a plan. Plan. Solve is solve in the UPSI problem, UPSI model. And then the last one is justify and evaluate. Okay, which is evaluate in the UPSI model. So you can read through these things and just spend a little bit of time reading this page. Okay, pause it so that you can read it. You may need to rewind. Okay, finally, they're talking about writing real-world problems. So you're going to look at a problem and then you're going to make up a story. I told some of my classes a story I'm going to look at example 4 right here. 8x equals 72. Okay, usually when you have a number next to a letter, a lot of times it's money, but not every time. I don't want to use this one that they're using. I'm going to say that kind of what I used in class the other day. I'm going to pay $8 for every pound of limes that you pick. Okay? And let's say I gave you $72. 8 times however many pounds of limes it took. I don't know how many you picked, but that ended up equaling $72. So how many pounds of limes did you pick? Well, let's use, that's multiply, so we're going to divide. Do the opposite. And then they cancel each other out. So x equals, and what's 72 divided by 8? 9. So you must have picked 9 pounds of limes. Let's look at number 5. Write a real-world problem for the equation 11x equals 385. Then solve the equation. So, I don't know. It's 10 o'clock at night. I can't think of something. So you're on your own for this.